Hola mis amores, it's Nori here. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about how to talk to yourself. This is something that a lot of us perhaps don't think about often, but I've discovered over the past few years, especially the last 4 years, that I've been really intentional about really loving myself unconditionally and prioritizing my needs no matter what. That I didn't always knew how to talk to myself. I didn't always know how to communicate with Nori in a way that wasn't negative and that wasn't rooted in shame or guilt. And I think a lot of us are experiencing that, especially something that I see with my clients, something that I see with many of the women that I talk to, even the ones that don't become my clients. I do notice that we have this habit and this pattern of treating ourselves not in the most loving way. So, I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about how to talk to yourself and what kind of things to look for as you are communicating with yourself as you have this human experience. Now, the first thing to understand here is that we tend to learn how to talk to ourselves from the people that raised us. So, if you grew up in a household that was very demanding of you and you use a lot of shame and guilt to talk to you, then guess what? That's how you learn to talk to yourself. If you grew up in a household that was very compassionate and it was very kind and very loving, then that's perhaps how you choose to talk to yourself. But if you grew up in a space that didn't even have any boundaries around talking to yourself or to other people, then you probably didn't learn to talk to yourself in a loving way. And you have to be able to understand that because it is our instinct to treat ourselves badly whenever we do something that is quote unquote not the outcome that we want. And that's behavior that we learned. We learned this as children from the people that raised us, whether it is intentionally or unintentionally. And we have to be able to notice that and to see that that's not who we are. Because the more we continue to talk to ourselves in a way that's not healthy and is not loving and kind and compassionate, the more we put ourselves in a position of suffering and the more difficult and unhappy our life can be. So, some things to spot when you're talking to yourself is, are you talking to yourself with kindness? Are you treating yourself like you would treat your best friend? Will you talk to your best friend with shame and with guilt? Or will you show up for them with some compassion and some grace and encouragement and just inspiration? A lot of times we talk ourselves out of doing the thing that we want to do because we may not believe in ourselves. We may not believe in our abilities. And we perpetuate these beliefs by not taking action. So the more we believe that we cannot do something and the more we don't do that activity, guess what? The more you cement the beliefs in your mind that you cannot take things and do them. But you can, and you know you can because you do hard things every day. So it's important that as you talk to yourself, you bring in that kindness, you bring in that compassion, and that you encourage yourself because we cannot put that in the hand of other people. We have to be responsible for ourselves, and that starts with how we communicate with ourselves. If you make a mistake, there's no need to make yourself feel bad about it. What help is that going to do? When has making yourself feel bad about something helped you or changed your situation? Chances are it hasn't. It more than likely just made it worse or more suffering or more pain, but that's not what's going to help you move forward, especially if you're in business. Every time you make a decision, there's this tendency to be afraid of making a mistake, this tendency to be afraid of not being perfect, this tendency to be afraid of failing. But when you were a baby and you were learning how to walk, guess what? You failed a lot. You failed so many times. And no one ever said, you know what, that walking thing may not be for you. They encouraged you. And you have to show up for yourself in that same way and bring that same energy. Because sometimes we are all we have. And if we are talking to ourselves like someone that we hate, then we're going to live a life that we hate. But if we talk to ourselves like someone that we love and we cherish and we have kindness for, then we kind of bring that same energy into the manifestation of our physical world. And that's what I want for you. So if you're someone that struggles with talking to themselves with kindness and compassion and grace, I want to encourage you to monitor your behavior. Pay close attention to what are the things that bring out these feelings? What are the things that are causing you to talk to yourself in a way that is not kind and compassionate? And question those things. question where that comes from and question if it serves you. Because 99% of the time, it doesn't. It doesn't serve you at all. Because life is not meant to be all about guilt and shame. Life is about joy and love and kindness and compassion. And yes, sometimes you're not gonna get things your way, but that doesn't mean that you need to be punished for that. In talking to ourselves with kindness and with love and compassion begins that process of talking to other people with that same kindness and that same grace and that same compassion. Okay? Thank you so much for joining me today. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will talk to you in the next video. Hasta luego.